Hello, this is Bob Villarreal, and this is the tour for first letter, parts E through G. Okay, so thanks for joining me. Well, we're starting out here at Cusco. Cusco is right here in the middle of the picture. Just swoop down just a bit, and we're gonna travel in this particular section. We're going to travel the route that the expedition traveled. Well, several days after leaving Cusco, the expedition approached a narrow way through the mountains near Andahuaylas. So let's go on up you can see here's the valley here. Now, excuse me, Andahuaylas, and you know, these are not very good renderings, and I suspect that when the satellite took these photographs, there must have been some, high level clouds or something to distort the picture. So they don't come, this part right here does not come in very well. Well, they came to this narrow way through the mountains near the town. Now, I suspect, to back this out just a bit, I suspect when you read it, I think it's right here in the middle of the picture. It's this area right in here, okay? And that's where they were going through, and it's rather steep on both sides. And there's other reasons why they got caught the way they did. But anyway, read it, and it'll make sense. Well, now it turns out that one of the scouts reported that when he passed through this area after having been summoned to Cusco for the expedition, he heard talk of armed rebellion against the Spanish. And the natives did attack in this place, and Demerita devotes a page to its description. So that's where they fought, I believe. And then here's, in the center of the picture, is the little town of Andahuaylas. I've been there. It's noted for a small church known as the Andean Sistine Chapel because of its ceiling paintings. They're beautiful. Not exactly like the Vatican's Sistine Chapel, which I've also seen, but they're still wonderful. I mean, it's hard to believe something that beautiful is in the wilds of the mountains here. It's quite a stirring sight. Well, beyond the battle site, they came upon the village of Urcos. Now, Urcos has a population of about 5,000. Same as, Andahuaylas is a little smaller. Yeah, right there in the center, to the right of that lagoon, is Urcos. This was a friendly place, according to Demerita, where there was a large and strong wall that ran near the road and then went off into the fields. Water flowed in a channel along the top of this structure, drawn from a source in the mountains to the east. Demerita later describes more of how the Inca controlled the flow of water, and they were masters at it, by the way. You can see some of their aqueduct systems throughout the Andes. Now you might want to check, this body of water here is called the Laguna Mohina, or Mohina Laguna, whichever way you want to pronounce it. You can check the photo section on the website, and you can see an 1875 engraving of Urcos in the Mohina Laguna that I purchased several years ago. It's an interesting place. Well, about 2.5 weeks later, they came to an immense lake named by the natives Titicaca. So let's go on down there. Pardon me. There it is. I think it's the highest navigable lake in the world, I believe. Now, Peru is on the right, Bolivia is on the left. They have bifurcated this thing so that each country has about an equal amount of the lake in their possession. Okay, so Demerita says they followed the Inca road down the eastern side of the lake. Okay, so that's what we're looking at now. Beautifully blue in color, it had small fishing boats upon its surface and large fields of reeds on its shore. Demerita tells how the great Inca historian Garcilaso de la Vega described these watercraft. It's an interesting read, and in some detail, so I think you'll enjoy it. Well, they continued their travel along the eastern side of the lake, following the Inca road. One afternoon it began to rain, at times very heavily. Demerita was invited by Almagro to examine the road with him. They did, and discovered that the center of it lay at a higher point than at the margins. This caused the rainwater to flow gently off the road, thus facilitating the movement of men and animals. They remarked upon the ingenuity of those who built the road. And of course, that's the way we build our roads today. Okay, well, kept going south, and they came to a little town, a little village at that time called Sarata. And here it is. This is, I didn't see it in all its splendor. We were there for only one day and had to, rush on through. And it was foggy. I couldn't see the surrounding, hills, and of course these beautiful mountains in the south here, unfortunately. But this place impressed several of the men as one of the most beautiful they had seen so far. It rested in a shallow valley below towering peaks immediately to the east. One of the interpreters pointed to several of them and named them. One on the left is Ilyampu. That's the one on the left there, and that's 20,872 feet. And the one on the right is Ankohuma, 21,085. Beautiful. And the trees and flowers in this place caused Father Suarez to remark that it resembled an earthly Garden of Eden. Well, like I said, the day I was there it was foggy, so I couldn't get pictures of the peaks, but I used them from, I have some pictures from peak.com that are on the website in the photo section. Now, they would have seen, past this, they would have seen a couple of other mountains, and let me point them out to you. They would have seen them in the distance. They would have seen them up close. One is Kondariri, beautiful peak. And Kondariri is 18,500 feet, and I climbed that. I've got some pictures of it. You might want to see it in the photo section. And then also, they would have seen in the distance Huayna Potosi at just at 20,000. I also climbed that, but again, my pictures are when I'm on the mountain. And so I've got them on the Alone website. You can check them out there. But it wouldn't have much meaning here because they wouldn't have, the expedition would not have seen them up that close, of course. Well, excuse me. Now, several more days of travel brought them to a site of great mystery just south of the southernmost part of Lake Titicaca. Let's go there. This is a fascinating place. Pal Yu knew of this place, and the Indians thereabout told them of immense stone monuments to the ancient gods and showed the way to them, a place they called Tiwanaku. And this is Tiwanaku today. See, you've got Lake Titicaca up there in the north, beyond this range of foothills right here to the north. This is a wonderful pre-Inca archaeological site. And all that Demerida describes is still there. You can see several of my pictures of this place in the first letter photo section. And the archaeological site is, I think you can make it out. It's right there in the middle of the, there's two places actually, and they're on the right and the left of this road that goes right down the center of the town. And there's one distinct on the left, rectangular area, and that has several things there, and then on the right there's more. Tiwanaku. So, now, several days later, on August 11th, they came upon the site of present-day La Paz. So let's go on down to La Paz, not too far away. Now, yeah, it's right below us here. And this is a beautiful city, and the times I was there, 3 times, 4 times over the years, it always reminded me of San Francisco, California. And we live about an hour from San Francisco, because La Paz is almost exactly like San Francisco with the hills and everything, and you find yourself walking up these steep hills and coming down the other side, the streets and sidewalks and everything. It's really an interesting city. Now, of course, when the expedition came through here, there wasn't anything here. This was established by the Spanish in, I can't remember when it was, 1543, something like that. Uh, now, now in the southeast, they would have seen Illimani. You can see it there in the distance. We'll go over there. 21,000 feet. It doesn't sit right over the city, but you can't dismiss its presence. It's right there. I mean, it's in the distance, but it's right there. If that makes any sense. Sorry. Let's go over to Illimani. You can go to my Alone website and see the pictures there in the photo section of Illimani when I climbed it. But they absolutely would have seen it. So it's a beautiful peak. Well, it was near here that a Chaskey runner approached with a quipu for the Indian grain master of the expedition. And Demerita devotes almost a full page in describing these devices, and you can see a picture of one in the photo section. Well, the next landmark it came to was Lake Pupo. And, excuse me. Now, Lake Pupo, south of here, Demerita says that the local natives told them of the silver they extracted from a mountain nearby. This set off great excitement among some, which the captains immediately discouraged, for they feared a trap by the Indians and didn't want to expend their stores in efforts trying to find silver when gold was the true prize. Let's go down to this area. This is Potosi, and where they extracted all the silver and still do today is Cerro Rico. It's just right on the outskirts of Potosi, and there it is right below this. Small little town. Not sure. I think Potosi has no more than maybe 10,000 people today. It used to be much larger, but now that most of the silver is gone from Cerro Rico, it's dried up a bit. Now, okay, so Almagro and Alvarado said, "No way, we're not going to be drawn to this place. It may be a trap." But Almagro kept in mind that this was a big, supposedly a lot of silver here. And when the expedition returned to Cusco in 1537, in talking about this place, it set off some excitement. And several years later, a Spanish expedition went down here to investigate, and of course they found out exactly that, yes, Cerro Rico was almost a solid bar of silver disguised as a mountain. And so they followed up in 1545 and found an entire mountain filled with silver, Cerro Rico. The amount of silver taken from this place made the little gold found in Chile by Almagro insignificant in comparison, and certainly not worth the hardship and suffering they endured. In the following years, silver became as important as gold in the Spanish treasury. And Cerro Rico is still mined for silver today. Over the centuries, more than 41,000 metric tons of pure silver were mined by the Spanish from 1556 to 1783, just during those years. I don't know how much has been mined from 1783 to the present, but like I said, most of it is gone by now. I mean, they still mine there, but nothing on the scale of back in the Middle Ages. Well, that's it for this tour. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed